Hey guys, this is Tosh Customs, and today we'll be reviewing my custom Mezco Taskmaster figure. Just first off, really loved making this guy. We worked super hard, me and the customer, it was a commission. We worked super hard to balance a modern look while still keeping it really true to the character and his original comic design, and I think we really achieved that. So without further ado, I'm going to take the figure, I'm going to put him off to the side, but I am going to take off his head so that we can take a look at the alternate head options he comes with. And we're going to start off as normal by looking at the accessories. So I'm going to put that there. And he doesn't come with much. I was really just working with what the customer sent me as far as weapons, and I added a few of my own. So he sent me a katana, and this used to be from what I believe was the pink skull set from Mezco. I don't remember the official name, but the blade was pink and there was little pink divots inside the handle, and so I sprayed it down, or I didn't spray it, I hand painted this one. Hand painted this down in a chrome silver. I believe it's chrome from like the Metallics Air by Vallejo. Really clean, smooth paint, as you can see. Even though it's hand painted, you don't really pull out brush strokes from it. Just really good, smooth paint overall. So we have the sword here, and then from the Netflix Punisher, not the pistol, but the knife. I pulled the knife from the Netflix Punisher. I didn't change it in any way. Once again, we're going for a tactical, modernized look for Taskmaster, so I just left the knife the way it is. One, because if we're going to put the hand in it, I didn't want to repaint the handle because that might mess it up. And I thought the black blade was really cool for Taskmaster to use. You know, it's a little bit different. So I really like that. And then we have the pistol. This was from the Agent Gomez, I believe. I got this a while back from a different commission. We're using the Agent Gomez body, and we ended up not using the pistol. So I'd had this in the supply box, and funny enough, it's actually for the same customer who sent me the Agent Gomez, so what goes around comes around, I guess. But pistol is really unchanged. We did hit it with a little silver highlight right there. I was thinking about painting it orange, but the orange just kept on rubbing when it got put into the holster, so we just left it silver. And then I also got the barrel in silver, as you can see right there, and so it's just a little bit extra details. I also dry brushed it a little bit in silver, as you can see, along some of these like little grip areas and along that upper edge. It just has a little bit of shine to it, and that's just brought out some of the details in paint. So it's the little details that count. We're gonna move on to the hands next. The figure has his fisted hands on right now, and then the rest of these hands, they are all just from the Sovereign Knight Batman figure. We sprayed these white, and then I don't know why I keep on saying we. I sprayed them white, and then also, there we go, put some wear on them, dry brushed some brown on it, some really diluted brown, so it didn't really make a layer, but it just sort of dusted on it, which is cool. And so since we sprayed it, we did have to repaint the hands black. So we got that, just repainted the hands in a matte black. So it came out really clean. And all the hands are like that. It's all the Ascending Knight hands. So we have the gripping hand, we have the trigger finger hand. They're all done in the same style. We have sort of like a batarang throwing hand. I don't know what Taskmaster would use this for, maybe throwing knives, but he sent them to me, so I included them. Why not have options? And then we also have the open sort of like expression, or maybe like underbarrel gripping hand. So you can see, done in the same style. Yeah, so same hands for the other side, so if you've seen one half, you've seen them all. Nothing new or different with those. Coming to the heads, this was the fun part. We did a lot of brainstorming about how we wanted these heads to go. We didn't just want to do like a classic one, but we wanted to also sort of bring him up to speed, maybe, because it doesn't make sense for a guy to be wearing a realistic skull mask, and that's just his, that's his whole as this whole thing. But we did want to pay homage to the comics. So we did this classic head. It's based off of the Red Skull, or I guess it's Onslaught, the Onslaught Red Skull Build-A-Figure head. Just because of the way it's sculpted, we had to do some, or I keep on saying I had to do some modifications. I brought out the cheekbones, and I also sculpted sort of like the little butt chin, sculpted the chin out a little bit more, and that just helps sort of define his jaw. If you follow me on Instagram, you've seen the work in progress pictures for this guy, so you already know what he's looking like. So then I sprayed it in black. I sprayed it in white, then what's the word? I'm really forgetting the word right now. I apologize. Wash. There we go. I did a black wash. There it is. Sprayed it in white, did a black wash over it, and that's how you get sort of that like muted gray tone. And then after that, I dry brushed it in a bone color that I mixed, and that helps bring out all the little details. And I think it works that I did a wash in black on white instead of just spraying it black, because it means that we get more of a gray and a faded tone to it instead of a really super stark, harsh black. And so I think that works for the skull and just bringing out more of a worn look to it. And I really like that. It looks like old bone. And then we painted the teeth in white. I sculpted in there a little bit because the head has teeth running all the way back, and for a skull that doesn't make sense. So I sculpted, or I just sort of melded the teeth into it, faded it out, and then I painted teeth over it. I don't know why I keep on saying we. I apologize. If I do that in other videos, I apologize too. It's just me who works on this stuff. I don't know. Anyways, painted the teeth in white, threw a gloss over it, and then for the eyes, circled it in black, so we got some really nice contrast. And then as you can see, see if it'll focus, put just little tiny black dots. Originally, me and the customer were thinking about leaving them all white, and then he said, try pupils. We tried pupils, and he said, that's perfect. It gives him a little bit of a crazy look. So he's got this just like crazy man stare, which is actually super fun when posing him. He's angry, he's coming for you, and he's just a little bit insane, which I think is really fun. I don't know how true that is to the character. I don't feel like Taskmaster's featured in very many comic books, or at least I don't remember him. So, you know, maybe he is, maybe he isn't, but it's a fun way to imagine the character. We'll move on to this head. We wanted to do something super tactical, and so we decided to use the Punisher Spec Ops helmet. This is a cast, so as you can see, there are like some divots and just weird things because it's a cast. But on the outside, it looks fine. Can't even tell, and that's really what matters. So he sent me some concept art, and originally we were going to just paint it where the white of the skull sort of fades out to black at the chin, and then me and the customer decided to switch it up. He said it looked too just kind of standard and generic, and so then he actually found a different picture of this skull mask where the teeth were kind of painted in this jagged way. And so I said, okay, we opted for that. And I think it turns out really well. I actually really like it because it almost looks like he's snarling at you. Like, definitely feels like there's sharp teeth and he wants to bite you or something. And, you know, it looks scary. And I think that's good for someone like Taskmaster to really drive the fear home. And then since it was the Spec Ops helmet, I didn't want him to have eyes. Makes no sense to see Taskmaster's real eyes. So I sculpted in these lenses, and they have sort of, they got that line that runs right through them, so it almost feels like they're these double-sided lens type things. I just think it looks cool. Everything is sprayed in black. We hit it with a black gray on here just to bring in that tone difference, as you can see, between what would be technically like soft material and then more of a hard face mask. And then this is also dry brushed with a little bit of gunmetal so that we get more of a metallic look. And same thing here. I didn't want to hit it with silver because I felt like it distracted too much from the main focal part of the mask if we have too many, I guess, sort of like bright highlights coming in on the mask. So I didn't hit any of the buttons or any of the buckles because I wanted this to be the real focal point. But this is hit with gunmetal in the back so that the material-wise, it's consistent. So we have that mask, and I really, really like it. I think it looks awesome on the figure. And then the last one, we have this silver skull. I took some inspiration from the silver Taskmaster head that came in the Marvel Legends Taskmaster figure. Not the newer one with the end, I think it was the Endgame wave, but the silver one that came on more the Udon style Taskmaster. Sorry if you're hearing background noise. I live with my family. But definitely took some inspiration with the silver skull. So we took the, is it Riot Society that the pink skulls are from in Mezco? I don't know. But we took the pink skull Mezco head, shaved down the top of the head and the sides. If you guys are familiar with that figure, it just has really, really oversized proportions, and I didn't want to do that. So shaved that down, and then I sculpted in this outline of where the helmet would be, and so we can see where the actual helmet is, and it's sort of like a silver faceplate on top, which I think is really, really cool. I actually ended up spraying it in all silver. It's the same chrome silver that's on the sword, by the way, in case anyone's wondering. And then I ended up realizing that just muted all the details. So then I actually took a matte black, just swiped over this area in matte black, and then dry brushed silver over it. So that it brought out the details of the teeth and just the jaw area. So did that. I filled in the eyes, and obviously I sculpted those little nodes or notches, screw holes maybe, up there. Filled in the eyes and then sculpted. He has 3 lenses here. We figured one would go from night vision to normal and then like heat or maybe like infrared, something like that. So he has 3 different lenses that he can rotate between, and then we have some sort of sensor on the left eye. It feels a little bit cyberpunkish, something futuristic, but it definitely still has some real world application. Maybe it's just like stylized real world military stuff. So I think that's a really, really cool addition for Taskmaster. I like the futury vibe. And the futury vibe mixed with real world tactical definitely shows with the figure, and so I think this accomplishes it really well. So now that we've looked at that, without further ado, we're going to look at the figure itself. For this review, I'm going to take this head because it's probably my favorite one. I'm going to stick it on top. There we go. And then for now, I'm going to leave the hood off because the hood is just going to sort of flop around and get in the way. So the hood, just for people wondering though, the hood is a separate piece, and I'll explain why it is later and sort of how we did it. But for now, let's look at the Taskmaster figure. So got to pull it back for it to stay in frame of the camera. So I'm just going to pick up my camera. Hopefully this works and it stays. So we got the Taskmaster figure here. To keep with the comic look, we stuck with the white cape, and then we also did white on the boots and white on the gloves. Putting my camera back down, we're just going to stand him out here like this. I feel like this is close enough, and I'll just move the camera so you guys can see everything. The top of the armor is the Deathstroke Armor. Just this chest piece, we cut off the back straps, and we also cut off the back part of the collar. So now that you can see the collar stays open, you can see right the camera. Yeah, you can see how it just cuts off right there. And so that was to make room for where the hood was going to sit. And so it wasn't also hindering some of the neck articulation that we would get. Articulation-wise, it's all the same, even though we did replace like internal parts. This body is not the Sovereign Knight body all the way. We swapped out the lower legs for the tactical suit Batman from the Batman vs. Superman movie, and that was to get this guy proportional. Before, if you put these tactical boots with the Sovereign Knight lower legs, it makes him probably about an extra half an inch taller, something like that. And when you have this character half an inch taller, he stands like this high, but when you have arms that are this long, it looks really disproportional. It looks like his legs got stretched out for no reason. And so I swapped out the lower legs for the shorter tactical Batman lower legs, and that brings him back to proportion. And I forgot to set it aside, but I posted it on my Instagram. You can see him standing side by side with the PX Batman, the PX Sovereign Knight Batman. So you can see that now they're the same height, and that was due to the lower leg switch. As far as other parts go, we have the tactical Batman abdomen armor here. We have shoulder pads and gloves from the tactical Batman. Obviously, like we mentioned, Sovereign Knight hands, tactical Batman thigh armor, tactical Batman knees, tactical Batman lower legs. This ammo piece this little ammo carrier came from the Crossbones figure, and obviously it's repainted. We sprayed it black, and then I sprayed it black, dry brushed it with a little bit of black gray, and then also dry brushed some of this in gunmetal. As you can see, there's gunmetal on those little line divots, and then this is a black gray. And so that just helps differentiate and create layers. And that's really what's cool about paint, is you need, I mean, details and sculpt is good, but how you paint it really creates the layers on a figure. On this right arm, I sculpted the Taskmaster symbol, also sculpted the Taskmaster symbol on the belt, so he's not logo-less. We decided not to go with the shield because just realistically, shield doesn't make too much sense. But we decided to add some of our own creative additions instead. So we gave him, we decided on a sort of like a little iPad tablet type thing on his arm. And I did an angled screen design just so that it would sort of fit with the theme. It would look strange if he just had like a little rectangle on there. So instead, opted for angled screen. I think just fun design wise. All his armor sort of has like this diagonal look to it. Even the belt is coming up at an angle, and his symbol's angled. The armor has like, it's all arrow shaped, and so thought that would be a perfect addition. And then on the left side, we took the Batman grappling hook from the Justice League Batman vs. Superman movie, shaved down the handle, or just cut and shaved it down, and then sculpted some new attachment points onto the, onto the focus. There you go. That's just that silver bit onto the arm. So we sculpted that on, and so now he can, grappling hook away. He can just go, phew. So that seemed like a useful feature for someone like Taskmaster to have. Taskmaster in general is sort of a hitman, I guess, in some ways. He's not really like a supervillain, he's a merc. So getting around quickly, being able to have that verticality seems really important. So we agreed to make those additions, one for the tech, one for his ability to get around easier. And I think the fun part about that was, as I was building this, I was sending my customer update images, and he was just saying, it seems like a waste just to keep the Batman gauntlets the same. If we're working with Taskmaster, it seems lame to just reuse the same parts and not do anything with them. And I was like, yeah, you're right, we should do something. And so together we came up with these, and it was really fun. I've worked with him before, and it's fun when someone has really vision for the character. Anyways, moving down the legs, we have the belt. Those pistol ammo pouches or whatever were pulled from Deadpool. This holster is from the Netflix Punisher. Just pulled that off the vest. And then this knife was also pulled off the Punisher vest. You may recognize these parts. These were extras from my Scarecrow. So we got that, and then, so yeah, we have the knife sheath in there. And then both the gloves and the boots were just dirtied up with the brown like we did on the hands. And then we just painted the armor with that blue. So all the armor plates are hit in blue, and that's really what helped us tie that color scheme together. We used orange as highlights, blue as armor. So I'm really, really happy with how he turned out. I feel like he has good weapon storage. Sadly, he doesn't have any weapon storage for the katana. I wasn't sent a sheath, and I don't know if like a sheath would really fit on this guy. Maybe somewhere on the back, but I don't feel like it would look good on the side. So I'm fine with him just bringing the sword as extra, but being equipped with the knife and the pistol. Detail-wise, I think that's about it. I mean, you guys can see the paint. You guys can see the paint job. I don't feel like there's anything really super important to point out. I did sculpt and fill in the divots under the chest armor a little bit. You can still see them. They're not fully gone, but they're just filled in a bit more. And then I sculpted in the scratch to continue on. And that was just because they were too deep before, and it was also sort of in the same idea that we want to modify the armor and just not kit bash. And I think that was really big, is that, you know, we want this to stand out and be unique. For those wondering how I got these to fit in, I have videos. I don't remember if I've posted them or not, but both the grappling gun and the knife, the bits are actually dremeled in to both the leg and the glove respectively. So I actually drilled into them and dremeled in and made space so that they would stick in. Because if you take something like this and you just do a flat flush surface, like if it's just two surfaces touching and you try to glue it and seal it there, it's super easy to peel off. But if it's sealed into a divot, it gives a lot more hold. And so I did that for both, so that, you know, kind of like durability and longevity of the figure, these aren't going to have any issues being moved around, or if they fall, they're not going to break and pop off. So did that, and that was definitely a little bit risky, because once you Dremel into something, it's super hard to repair it, especially with something as detailed as Mezco parts. So I'm glad it really worked out, and it was a risk worth taking. I think I've really pointed out the big things. We went for a longer cape originally, or a longer cloak. Originally, I was voting to keep it short, but now that it's longer, it definitely feels more like Taskmaster. Once again, that really good mix between comic and modern. And so we cut it off at the knees, and then I actually took a lighter to it and was just able to get that cape to curl as well as cut it. And that gives a nice worn look to it. I actually got the lighter idea from, I think it's John Walker Customs. He does a lot of Star Wars stuff, but I remember seeing him burning a Boba Fett cape, and that's what gave me the idea to implement that on Taskmaster. So that's the figure there. And last but not least, we are going to look at how the hood works. And so if you saw before, I cut off the collar on the hood. And the reason why I cut off the collar, or the collar on the armor, and the reason why I did that was so that we could fit this hood on. Yeah, the hood's an entirely separate piece. It's not attached to anything. The fun part is this cloak looks like it bunches up in the back like a hood, so it looks like he has it off, and then you can just place it on. But the big reason why it's a separate piece is so that the heads can switch out really, really easily. It's easier just to pull off the hood and then switch out the head and just put the hood back on top. And the way the hood stays on is that since it has a wire collar neck piece, I just bent it and fit it really, really nicely around the neck. And so then all we have to do is just push this back, and then take the hood and just slide it right in between where the head of the figure and the neck meet, and then it's just bringing it forward and just pushing it down. And then so you bring it forward, push it down, and then I just pull the extra bits of the cloak out from under the hood. As you can see, it sort of gets bunched up under. Just pull all that out and then tuck the hood in to where it fits nicely. And then we'll bring it in closer, and then you get that look. And as you can see, it doesn't fall off. It holds nicely right under the, I realize the camera's blurry, but since I'm holding the camera, can't get it to focus. But yeah, it fits really, really nicely. Focus, 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 focus. No, whatever. You get the idea. It's not going to fall off, and it's nice because since it's on a wire, I can make the hood more pointy. I can change how it droops, all that type of stuff. And so even though this cape is soft goods, this gives you options for how you want the hood to be posed. He likes it posed where it's almost like Assassin's Creeding over the eyes, and I think that looks really cool. So that's how I've been posing him and taking pictures with him. But, oops, getting a little bit of the edge of my desk there. I realized that over time my camera sort of shifted off center of the set. That's because I've been picking it up and putting it back down. But anyways, that's a look at Taskmaster. I really enjoyed this guy. I think he turned out really well. Yeah, I don't really have any further comments. It was just a super, super fun build. Oh, actually, I do have one further comment. I realized also sculpted those little node notches, very similar to the ones that, let me pull the hood back, sit on the skull head. So yeah, just some design consistency. Once again, just sort of updating the armor, giving it little extra details so it doesn't feel like it's just been kit bashed. Yeah, that's always a big thing, especially when you're working with Mezco. Mezco makes so many good parts. It's really, you know, how do I accentuate the parts and how do I make it fit the character I'm building and not feel like I'm just sort of copying and pasting different parts of figures and just smashing it together. So I think we really did a good job. It feels like a super original character. And yeah, I really enjoyed making him. I chose not to go too much into the paint detail because I feel like you guys have seen it all. Yeah, we did keep the little bat spike things, highlighted them in orange, but yeah, very, very pleased with this guy overall. I think he turned out really, really well. And I know the customer's really happy with it. I've sent him pictures, so I'm actually going to be shipping it off tomorrow. I'm filming this on Tuesday. This will get posted up on Saturday, so we'll have already been shipped off and hopefully arrived by the time you guys see this review. But I'm very, very happy with how he turned out. I had a good time. There was a very, very clear vision for this character, and we just went forward on it. And it was super fun asking the questions of what would work for Taskmaster if he was a real guy. And I feel like we landed at a good point where it's definitely fictional and takes some liberties, but doesn't stray too far either from what could, you know, maybe exist, and what you could actually see, like in the real world. So, yeah, very, very pleased. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm really, really a fan of this character. I wish I could keep him. I wish I could keep a lot of my customs though. But, anyways, yeah. That's a look at my custom Mezco Taskmaster. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and sorry for a little bit of my rambling. I have a tendency to do that. I always one-take my videos, so that's what you guys get. If you enjoyed this and you have just found my channel or you're subscribed to my channel, if you look at my video uploads, I don't take care of this channel very well, and that's just because most of the time I'm in school. I'm on summer now, but most of the time I'm in school. So this channel is not where I do most of my work. You should check me out on Instagram at Tosh_customs. There's a link in my bio or like the about section of this channel if you're having troubles finding me. And I upload or I post more consistently on there. And so if you want to see when commission work opens for me, or if you just want to sort of keep up with what I'm doing and my projects and things like that, that's the place to go. And so I already have some work in progress photos of him up already, and I'll be posting the final pictures soon, or maybe by the time you see this review they'll already be posted, who knows. But yeah, so if you really want to keep track of what I'm doing, Instagram is the place to go. I also have a Facebook page, but I also don't take care of that very well. That's more so I can just be a part of the Mezco collector groups on Facebook. So yeah, follow me on Instagram, and if you enjoyed this video, please like, please subscribe. I don't make money off of this, but it's just cool to see your support, and I appreciate it. I appreciate you giving your time to watch this video. I hope you found it interesting, and, you know, maybe learned a thing or two about, I don't know, design or something. I realize I strayed a little bit away from the tutorial that I normally do. And that's just because I wanted to highlight the things I liked about this figure, which happens to be a lot. So anyways, once again, thank you all for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Until next time, take care.